This man was the first African that became a samurai in Japan, during a time when even living in Japan was really hard for foreigners and the idea of becoming a samurai seemed impossible. The samurai had significant social status and power in Japan's society, and they had their own strict code of conduct. So how did a black man that was completely foreign to Japan and its culture went against social norms and everyone's expectations and became a samurai? Well, this is the story of Yasuke. Yasuke was the first African to appear in Japanese historical records. He lived in Japan for about 3 years from 1579 to 1582. His real name is unknown. I will explain why he's known as Yasuke in a bit. Now you might ask, how did he get to Japan and how did he become a samurai? So let's talk about that. Alessandro Valignano was a Jesuit priest and missionary that would go around and invite people to Christianity. His goal and responsibility was introducing people from the Far East, especially Japan and China, to Catholicism. Yasuke was in the service of this Italian man. It is not certain where Valignano and Yasuke met, but it seems likely that it was either in Mozambique or in India. And it's not clear whether Yasuke was a slave or a follower. Some say he became free before they met, some say he didn't. We are not sure. In 1579, Valignano and Yasuke arrived in Japan. Valignano wanted to visit Oda Nobunaga. Now you might ask, who was Nobunaga? Well, Nobunaga was a really powerful and influential feudal lord in Japan during a time of civil war and social unrest. He played a really important role in the unification of Japan. He was a really strong and creative war general, and his goal was to centralize power under his rule. At the time, he was the most powerful man in Japan. So Valignano wanted to be on his good side to make sure that his Jesuit missionary work was going to move on as smoothly as possible. So in 1581, Valignano met Nobunaga and Yasuke was with him in that meeting. Nobunaga really wanted to see Yasuke. It was the first time that he was seeing a black man. After interacting with him for a bit, he started to like him. So he asked Valignano to give him over. Nobunaga gave him the Japanese name Yasuke. He was given a sword and a house, and Nobunaga made him a retainer at his side. Retainer kinda means a servant or a person serving another. Luis Freud, who was a Portuguese missionary that was present at the time, wrote this. The black man understood a little Japanese, and Nobunaga never tired of talking with him. And because he was strong and could do a few tricks, Nobunaga took great pleasure in protecting him and had him roam around the city of Kyoto with an attendant. Another old text says this. Nobunaga was accompanied by a black man who was presented to him by the missionaries. His body was black like ink and he was 6 feet 2 inches tall. His name was said to be Yasuke. Yasuke was really physically strong, had great combat skills, and most importantly, he was really loyal to Nobunaga. So he gained Nobunaga's trust and respect, eventually being bestowed with the rank of samurai, which was a significant honor. By 1582, Nobunaga was at the height of his power as the leader of Japan, but one of his highest ranked generals decided to betray him. That man was Akechi Mitsuhide. Mitsuhide was initially one of Nobunaga's trusted generals, but for unknown reasons, he betrayed Nobunaga. The betrayal caused the death of Nobunaga. He was not killed by Mitsuhide. When he was surrounded by Mitsuhide's forces, he committed harakiri. But that's another story for another video. Nobunaga was on the verge of unifying the country, but he died in the unexpected rebellion of Mitsuhide. After the death of Nobunaga, the life of Yasuke is less documented and we are not sure what happened to him after that. Some historical records suggest that he entered the service of Nobunaga's son. Some say he was captured by the forces of Mitsuhide and was returned to Jesuit missionary and continued serving within the Christian community in Japan. While others suggest that he joined the forces of Hideyoshi, the man who would go on and get Nobunaga's revenge by killing Mitsuhide. We are not sure what happened to him. The only thing that we are sure of is that Yasuke did not die after the death of Nobunaga, because Louis Freud wrote 5 months after the death of Nobunaga, thanking God that Yasuke did not lose his life. Regardless, Yasuke still has a really cool story. A black samurai that served one of the most powerful men in the history of Japan, who was trying to unify the whole country, but was betrayed. Survived after the death of his master and became a legend. It's a cool story.